This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to our first episode of 2019. Yes, we're back after a bit of a break during December. We're on episode 170 now, and as always, I'm your host, Tim, and joining me is Dane. Dane, what's up?
We took this break, right?
Mm.
And you figure, we take some time off and relax and, I don't know, do something else, right?
You would think that's the goal.
I decided to get sick right before we came back.
Well, that's the last thing you want to happen. But
yeah.
Because, pretty much we were off for about almost a month, I would say. By the time listening to this episode, it would be kind of close to a month. So hopefully you didn't get sick at the very beginning.
Definitely towards the end of our break, which is terrible because I gotta record this podcast.
Well, I will say you don't sound like you were getting over a cold. You don't have that nasally congested sound to your voice, so
okay, good.
That's good, at least to me you don't.
Yeah, but I'm just hoping that this comes across good. I'm not coughing or sneezing or choking.
We don't want you, collapsing on the other end. Though it would make for an interesting section on the episode. Not gonna lie.
I wonder what you would do. I mean, would you I would. Dane, are you still there?
Yeah.
You all right?
I would immediately, after I give you the first, check-in, I'll have to call 911 and see if they can send the medical emergencies from Hawaii over to your house.
Yeah, I wonder how that would work. You'd have to call your 911 to my 911.
Yeah. And I don't have your address. So maybe if I give them your phone number, they'll be able to find you. But see, we should plan out, or Bat-Fans emergency, in case of emergency protocol, what to do if one of us collapses there was that episode, I had an earthquake while we were recording,
Oh, right.
What if there's a really big one and I just lose connection with you, don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and maybe we should have Bat-Fans emergency contacts, at work, if you don't hear from this person, call this person,
Exactly, yep. Already planning for a safer podcast for 2019. Speaking of 2019, it's a new year, and that means it's a new name for our show. Yep. So we said in our last episode how we wanted to keep it kind of a shorter one this time after Jordan from Smallville, Batcat Shipper, and we had Mark Tiberius Lemke 1 year. And before, the easiest one was just Alex. One word. That was the easiest one to remember. It just rolled off the tongue quite easily. So going back to something that's not quite that short, but something that'll be pretty simple. And decided for 2019, since it's going to be a year where a lot of the stuff we like is, is going to be the end for quite a few of their stories that they're telling. Star Wars Episode 9's ending the Skywalker saga. Game of Thrones is ending this year. Avengers Endgame, which is kind of going to mark an end of an era for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there's some things that are wrapping up. But you know what? we're still continuing on with our podcast. So the name for 2019 is Bat-Fans. Yes, we're still here. Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. Well, you forgot the colon in the space. Like Bat-Fans, colon,
that's
space.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's going to derail the whole saying the name right, rolling right off the tongue. We got to say colon, space.
Yeah, and we did say we'd keep it short, so
yes.
Maybe just Bat-Fans, blah, 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 right?
Yeah. That might not be bad for a future episode title or future show name, Bat-Fans, blah, blah, blah. But right now, it's Bat-Fans. Yes, we're still here. And yes, we'll be here for 2019 and hopefully beyond. But before we get into the thrust of our episode, our first one of 2019, we got to start it off as we always do, which is our Dark Knight Rises minute-by-minute commentary. And we're one episode away from a landmark, Dane. I mean, we're just going to be a minute away from the 2-hour mark. So it's going to be a big one next episode. But for this one, we are going from minute 150, or I should say minute 118 through 119, the hour and 58-minute mark. So, as always, get your relevant media formats, DVDs, VHS, Betamax tapes, Laserdisc, your HD DVD, your Blockbuster video membership card, your Netflix physical media, our favorites, your VHS to DVD converter. And I don't know, did anything go out of date in 2018 as we're in 2019 now? We mentioned Blu-ray from time to time, but that's still, hasn't been fully done away with by 4K.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'll tell you this, Tim. Over the holidays, I decided to buy a new TV.
Nice. Getting into the 4K?
I went from a 36-inch TV, right?
Mm.
And I had my eye on a 50-inch TV, Samsung. So we go down to Best Buy, right? And we're looking at the 50-inch TVs, and we're, checking out the Samsungs, and we're checking out the LGs, and we're checking out pretty much everything that Best Buy has to offer, right?
Mm.
But then we start talking to a sales representative, right? And guess what we walk out with?
Like an 80-inch TV.
a 70-inch Samsung
nice
UHD 4K TV.
Nice. Well, big congrats, Dane, man.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's almost too big. But yeah, it's a great TV. Man, those Best Buy people know how to sell TVs. Talking to you. So what I was thinking, Tim, was regular 1080p TVs.
So you weren't even thinking about 4K?
What do you mean?
No, you said you were just going in thinking like regular 1080p TV. So were you thinking of getting a 4K TV?
I was thinking about getting like a high definition TV, like a 4K. So yeah, I went in for a 4K. But what I was thinking to add on to our list was regular 1080p.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Viewed through 1080p TVs.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
I was just caught up in you getting your new TV. I thought that's what you were still talking about. But no, that is a good call.
But it is great because it's a smart TV, right?
Mm.
And it's great to have one that you don't need the. We had a Roku, right? So it's great to just have it all on one thing,
Yeah, well, I'm sure the DC Universe app still isn't on like your smart TV. You might need your Roku for that. So. Yep, it's 2019, and I'm still going to be complaining about that because it's still not on video game consoles. Yeah. It better be soon this year. Young Justice has already started, and they're like 6 episodes in, and I haven't seen one yet. But I was tempted to sign up for it during like the holidays because they were saying they had like a sale where it was like only $4 for like the first 3 months after you sign up. But like, I still don't want to watch these on my iPad.
So. Just get it already. You can watch it on your computer.
It's not. I don't want to watch it on my computer. I want to watch it from my comfy recliner on my big TV, not a 70-inch, but in my room, a big enough TV. I was like, I want to enjoy them. And at this point, I waited this long enough, and it's just going to be so, it's going to be something that's going to be so enjoyable when they do finally announce it's on the PS4 or an Xbox, and it'll just be, yes, it was worth the wait, and I'll be able to enjoy those shows.
Here's what you do, Tim. Just get a laptop, get an HDMI cord, hook it up to your TV, and play it off of your computer on your TV.
See, I've heard that suggestion before, and I've been thinking of it, but I was like, there's something that's in the back of my mind that's going to say, you know what, the quality's probably not as good as it's going to be going from your computer to your TV. It's going to look good and fine probably, but I think there'll probably be somewhat of a noticeable difference if I just watch it directly through whatever system I'm using it for through the app. But yeah, I'm kind of being the little, I don't know what you want to call it, but being a little too nerdy about it, and as far as quality goes, and just I don't know. But I waited this long. I couldn't wait because I remember them saying 2019 it should be. I just don't know when. So hopefully it's soon.
You know what I was thinking? Completely unrelated to the DC thing or 4K TVs or whatever, but you know how like it seems like everybody rallies for like the coal miners, right?
Uh-huh.
And like, we can't let the coal miners go away because it's such a part of America, right? Or whatever. It's weird that we didn't apply those same feelings towards Blockbuster employees or video store employees, right? I mean, we kind of just let them go.
Yeah, that's true.
And you think about Blockbuster and how big Blockbuster was, so they were a big employer back in the day, right?
Yep.
So it's weird how like we just sort of forgot about or just let them go,
Yeah. It would be nice if, Netflix is a big enough company where a lot of them could have went from Blockbuster to Netflix. So that's pretty much what killed them, but I'm sure it wouldn't be able to help all of them. But you're right. Yeah. That's a type of employment and employees that we're never going to see again.
Yeah. Same thing with video game stores. I kind of see the same thing going on with that.
Yeah, I mean, GameStop, I wonder how long they're going to last.
Yeah.
I mean, there's talk about some like companies trying to buy them out. I don't know which companies, but I thought I heard something like that not too long ago. So just the way things are going digital, it's just almost a matter of time, I would think.
You know what's super weird? You ever go to like a strip mall that's not near you, that's far away, and you just want to get something to eat or something, and the entire strip mall is empty storefronts, but there's always a GameStop there. There's always a GameStop open, and there's always a Subway.
Yeah, I think more so Subway than GameStop, but
yeah, it's so weird. It's like, how do those two survive in an empty strip mall?
Yeah, Subway. It's something to eat. So if you're just drive by, even if it's the only thing there, you would still go to it. But I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Subway's going away anytime soon.
Oh, no way. And plus, too, like, Subway is smart. You see, like, if you go to Arby's or you go to, like, a Jack in the Box or McDonald's or what have you, right? They build their own stores, right? Same thing with what Pizza Hut used to do. They used to have the restaurants, and they would build their own stores. Whereas Subway, they just go into a strip mall, and like anything can become a Subway.
Yeah.
They don't have to build they didn't get into the habit of building their own buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think that they're just like a standalone Subway building that I've seen, and none's really come to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, I think that was the fall of Arby's, really.
Well, I still got Arby's by my house. But...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you go there often?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one thing I miss about. That's one thing I miss. Is Arby's. No Arby's here.
Yeah, everyone jokes about like they're like the bottom of the fast food chains. Everyone jokes about their food being horrible. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah, they're curly fries are really good too.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
Curly fries in a shake. Can't go wrong with that.
Better than Jack in the Box, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Yeah, I heard it's because they change their oil like every day. So it's like fresher oil.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
You would like to think most fast food places do that, but I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, you see, Arby's went the way of Blockbusters.
Well, I guess in your area.
Yeah, I mean, at least here. You know, like, Blockbuster was, you know, the biggest thing in the world, and then all of a sudden they started to lose market share until there was nothing. There were no more Blockbusters. Same thing with Arby's.
I just don't think Arby's was on top of the world quite like Blockbuster was. But I guess maybe you can, it's a small comparison, but thankfully I don't know. I can't relate to that because I still got an Arby's. So
Yeah,
I just had it a few days ago.
Dang it,
was good.
Tim. You see, now you've got me jealous.
Yeah.
You've really got me jealous because that's... I mean, there's only one here. There's one Arby's, but it's far away, so it's like I'm not going to drive for...
Like, you'd have to eat it there to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's in a mall, so...
Yeah. Well, my condolence to you, Dane, and the lack of Arby's restaurants.
I'm so jealous.
But anyway, I guess that was a big detour off Dark Knight Rises minute by minute commentary formats. But yeah, I guess we'll be adding just standard 1080p TVs to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll go ahead and give the countdown for the hour and 58-minute mark. So Dane, are you ready? Are you watching it on your brand new 70-inch TV?
Unfortunately, no. I'm watching it on my iPad.
All right, so I'll give the countdown with 3, 2, 1, go. I actually hit pause and play real quick, so I paused it again, but I should be back going as they're making their way towards the ice, or I should say death by exile. Part of me thinks, the ice is so fragile here, maybe you should just run for it. See how far you get just by running.
You have to shuffle. You have to shuffle your feet on this thing, man.
But look how little distance he got walking there. He barely made it. So if he just ran, maybe he could have. The eventuality is going to be the same. Just see if he could have made it a little further by running.
Or get a running start and slide.
Maybe, there you go. There you go. You just kind of do a slow, maybe kind of swim your way across the ice slow. You'll move very slowly, but. And Foley's not showing up for the meeting, so Gordon's going to get him at Foley's house. And that's where we're going to end things right here.
Oh, what's going to happen to Foley, Tim?
His wife answers the door. Will he come to the door? Will Gordon knock some sense into him? Find out as we hit the 2-hour mark on our next episode. You don't want to miss it. So, that's it for our Dark Knight Rises minute by minute commentary, our first one of 2019. And I was just thinking, is there a possibility we may finish it this year? I think we're going to come just under it because the movie is 2.5 hours. I got
2:45, I think.
2:45. Yeah. Okay. So we're definitely not finishing it this year. I was gonna say because sometimes we average around 20, between 20 and 25 episodes a year, depending if there's some circumstances where we're not able to record a certain weekend. But I was saying if it was in the 2 hours and 25-minute mark, we might get it. But then I remembered it was easily 2.5 hours. But then you said 2 hours and 45 minutes. Definitely not.
How long is The Last Jedi?
That's
250?
No, it's around 2.5.
Okay. I think we should do that one next.
Ooh, that would be a good one.
Yeah. Minute by minute. I mean, you're not doing it on the Saga Continues podcast, so
no.
We should do it here.
Yes, well, I'll give a little tease. This year we're planning to do full commentaries for all the movies leading up to episode 9.
Oh, great.
So definitely not minute by minute, but so that'll be something to look forward to in 2020. So it's will Mike get started if we do The Last Jedi, that might not be till 2021 or somewhere in the middle or the end of 2020 once we finish The Dark Knight Rises.
Wow. Yeah, 2021, 2020.
So it sounds weird saying it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've got to enjoy 2019 while it lasts.
It's a momentous occasion whenever it happens.
Yes.
But speaking of movies, I was rewatching Batman '89, and did you see it re-released in theaters?
It wasn't a technical re-release, but just earlier in the year, where my local theater has what they call Tuesday Night Classics, where every Tuesday night they show classic movies, and Batman was on there. That's where I finally got to saw it in the theater.
How did it look? Did it look real good, or?
It looked good as far as what I was used to and how the Blu-ray transfer is.
Yeah.
So it looked how I was expecting it to.
Oh, it's just a Blu-ray they played? Oh.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you see, I mean, that's the only one I haven't seen in theaters, right? So you're just wondering how that would look in theaters. Like if you were to actually watch the film rather than the Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah. I'm thankful for what they used because I wanted to see it in HD quality. So it looked good on the big screen. I will say that.
One of the coolest Batman entrances, I think.
He has quite a few of them in the movie when you think about it. I mean, the first one where he just slowly comes down against the two robbers, then his entrance into the museum, and even the chemicals factory. All his entrances were good when you think about it.
You know, in the beginning, how they're saying like, "Oh, I heard blah 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 died," right? So that guy is dead.
Well, maybe it wasn't because of Batman.
Oh,
it's part of the urban legend that's growing about Batman.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
But again, Batman kills in that universe, so maybe he did kill him. But yeah, so speaking of things you did, Dane, seeing Batman '89 recently, for our feature topic on this episode, it's pretty much going to be a catch up on what we've been up to since our last episode. Like as we said in the beginning, we were off for a month, hopefully doing some fun things while we weren't recording a podcast. And there was a big acquisition you got, Dane, after we recorded our last episode. I've been anxious to talk to you about, and one of the things you've been doing since then, which is you got a Nintendo Switch.
Finally.
Yes. I told you on a few episodes ago that you should get one, and like kind of edging you on, and you got it.
I actually picked it up the same day we got the TV.
Yeah. Perfect.
And guess what? Guess which one I've been using more, Tim?
The handheld version of the Switch?
Yeah. I've been using the Switch more than I've been using the TV.
Any particular reason for that? Because you're on the go, or you just like it that way, or how come?
I guess with a larger TV, a 4K TV, and a friend from work was telling me that or what you can do to kind of prevent this, but with the dock and projecting it on the TV, there is a drop in quality. Like you can see it. But what my friend from work was saying was you can get a Xbox and plug your Switch dock into the Xbox, plug your Xbox to the TV, and you can play it through your Xbox, and there's no drop in quality.
Huh. See, I never heard of doing that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, don't quote me on that. I was just told that, but that's what I heard. I mean, and there is kind of a drop in quality. But that being said, I have been having problems with Nintendo since the Wii. I just didn't get the system, idea-wise, and I didn't physically get it, right? Mm-hmm. Last Nintendo console I owned was a GameCube. I just didn't like the Wii. First off, it's a terrible name for a console.
Man, that was such a big joke when they first announced it. But man, it worked in the end. I mean, it really caught on. It became such a big selling system. The name, was so recognizable for what it was all about. So it sounded strange at first, but man, it worked for Nintendo.
Yeah, I didn't get the Wii, partly because I didn't really understand what it was. Was it a controller system? Was it a motion control? Was it both? Was it
Mhm.
what was it? And they didn't really have any good games on it. It was just the first party Nintendo games, your Marios, your Zeldas. Uh, just didn't really impress me, right?
Mhm.
And then they come out with the Wii U, which I and this seems to be a problem that everybody had with it. What was it?
Yeah.
Like, was it a gamepad? I mean, like, I originally thought it was just a gamepad where it's another controller. It's the you still use the Wii console, the original Wii console, but you have a new controller for it.
Okay.
That's what I thought it was. Didn't really know what it was, and apparently no, everybody else didn't either because it didn't sell that well.
Nope. And talk about a lack of library of games. Even on their first party front, it wasn't Nintendo's greatest uh, library of games for a system. Of course, they had some good ones on there, but
Right.
compared to some of all their other systems, it was lacking.
Yeah. But what I'm kind of interested is, what did you think about the Wii and the Wii U?
The Wii, I mean, I was interested to see how the motion controls worked. And of course, being the big hardcore Zelda fan that I am, I knew I had to get it just to play the new Zelda games. I'm kind of like that with most Nintendo systems. But the Wii was never a go-to system of mine. I just would play the few first-party games that were on there. But the graphics, since they weren't HD, it was just, they were really behind the times.
Right. Yeah, that's right. The original Wii didn't have
Yeah.
HD graphics, but the Wii U did, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
hard to look at those Wii games now. They didn't age well. GameCube games look a lot better, honestly. They do.
Wow, really?
Hmm.
Oh,
Then the Wii U, I kind of got excited because at first HD Nintendo console, that's awesome. But it's kind of like, is it, they had that pad, but it didn't. The functionality to me wasn't utilized as well. I don't know. I shouldn't say as well. I just don't think they needed it in the first place.
and it was
I
big
mean,
and bulky, right?
yeah, it didn't feel
wasn't.
comfortable.
Yeah, it wasn't like a sleek looking thing. It was just like a big piece of plastic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the weird thing about that, you can only get it when you bought the console. They never sold it separately. So
Right.
for like two players to play it. So it's just weird how they used it. And my brother got a Wii U. I never got it. So I would just play his time to time
Oh,
when it came to Smash Brothers. And they never had a new Zelda game for the Wii U. I mean, Breath of the Wild came out for the Wii U when it came out for the Switch. So I just waited and got the Switch version, which is obviously going to look a little better. But the only thing I'm waiting for the Wii U that hopefully gets ported to the Switch is the HD remakes of Zelda the Wind Waker and Zelda Twilight Princess. I want to play those again, so I'm hoping they put those on the Switch because the Wii U, that's probably the Nintendo system I played the least out of all of them, even despite having HD graphics and for the reason I said, not the best library of games that they had. So
yeah. So how do you play with the Wii U controller? Do you just hold it on your lap, or do you?
you could if you wanted to, I
Yeah.
guess, but I just hold it in my hands. But it
Um,
wasn't comfortable.
and how does the dual screen work?
I never really played enough to utilize it. So,
Oh,
I mean, I imagine for like Zelda games that act as your map,
yeah,
but for certain other games, I don't know. I never really used it.
yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So the Wii U came out, didn't get it, didn't understand it, and then Nintendo kind of went in the mobile direction, right? The iPhone games and the Android games.
Few of them, yeah.
Um,
Pokemon Go,
yeah, Pokemon Go
that
and
was a big,
Super Mario Run.
yeah.
Then I started to kind of get it. Like, I mean, I didn't play Pokemon Go, but I did play Super Mario Run, and I started to get it. Okay, so they're taking a new direction. They're gonna go into the mobile marketing game, right?
Mhm.
And then the Nintendo Switch comes out, and again, like I don't understand it. Like what? Like I thought Nintendo was going one way, and then they announced this handheld slash console, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I didn't get it. I was like, why are you guys reverting back? Because you don't understand consoles in the current generation. It seems like ever since the GameCube, it's like you guys don't get it. I don't know. I just didn't understand what it was. And, Tim definitely understands A, what it is, and B, my confusion about it, because I kept on asking him questions. And
when you first got it, you were sending me tons of texts. What does this mean? Where's the dock? Oh, it comes with the dock. What are these?
Well, I mean, even before that, I was like, well, with the Wii, with the Nintendo Switch, can you blah blah blah, or is this game on there, or just a lot of questions about the Nintendo Switch, and I just decided to get it, Tim. So I just bought it from Best Buy. I bought Breath of the Wild with it, and something funny happened to me in the store. So I'm going through the game section of Best Buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking through all the Nintendo Switch games, and I'm like, maybe I'll get that one, maybe I'll get this one. Didn't have Smash Brothers, by the way. They sold out, which is good to see.
Yeah, not surprised there.
But
considering it's pretty close to its release.
Also saw the remake of Ocarina of Time for the DS.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3DS or whatever.
I wish it was on the Switch.
I know, right? I was like, dang it, I got the wrong system again. But I'm browsing, and then this guy comes to the section, the video game section, and he buys a Nintendo Switch, right? He buys the Switch, and then I guess a game, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go, because I bought it online, and then I was doing the in-store pickup. And I was waiting for the in-store pickup line to die down a little bit before I stood in it. It wasn't really dying down, so I just decided to stand in line. And so, like, there's two people in front of me, and the line's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And then the two people in front of me both pick up Nintendo Switches. And then I pick up mine. So Best Buy just sold 4 Nintendo Switches while I was in the store.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay.
Switch day.
Yeah, there must be something to this Switch, right? So I buy it, and I bring it home, and I'm playing it, and that's when I finally understand.
It clicked.
It clicked. That's when
the Switch click that you hear when you start it.
Yeah.
The snap.
the Joy-Con snap. Then it finally hit me. Nintendo's finally back on their game. They finally understand how to make a system, and they've always understood how to make video games. That's just their forte. That's
definitely
what they're known for. They make these specific games that nobody else can make. Nobody else can even come close to making. And I gotta tell you, Tim, I was playing Super Mario Run. Odyssey, sorry. And
such a good game, man.
That's when it hit me. It was like I have not had this much fun playing anything. I haven't had this much fun watching TV, any TV shows, any movies. I haven't had this much fun in so long playing Super Mario Run. It's they finally, this is it, Tim. They finally made a great system after the Wii and the Wii U. You
got that Nintendo magic back for you, huh?
That Nintendo magic. Yeah, Tim. I mean, I can't tell you how much it's like. It's gonna sound cheesy, but it's like I was a kid again playing Super Mario.
That's what it's all about, man.
And like I said, I haven't had so much fun playing a video game, watching a movie, or watching a TV show, or whatever. It's just pure bliss. It's with the Switch, they've finally done it. And it's so great to see such a great company like Nintendo get it, because they already have the great software, but then their hardware hasn't really been so good.
Exactly.
But just to see the sort of integration of the software into the hardware, and just, it's so much fun, Tim. I'm speachless. It's a great awesome system.
I knew when you play Super Mario Odyssey that would be the reaction. I just, because we were talking about how close it was to Mario 64, how we both love that game, and it really is like the best sequel. Again, speaking from someone who hasn't played Mario Galaxy, I know everyone raves about that game. I just never got around to playing that one, but Super Mario Odyssey is the sequel for Mario 64 I've been waiting for, and any fan of that game I know would love Odyssey. It's just so much fun. Totally agree.
Right. And I also bought Breath of the Wild.
Now, this I'm interested to hear, because you started out, you were texting saying, oh, man, this is, loving the game. And then you got to a point where you got stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I just ran into that wall. Like, I didn't even see it, Tim. For one thing, it's a great game. It's probably one of the best games I've ever played. Same thing with Odyssey. Mm-hmm. Probably two of the best games I've ever played.
You're not wrong about that.
But going back to Breath of the Wild, it's such a. You see, this is what I kind of hope for, with Nintendo. I just wanted to see them make an open world. Because like a company like Ubisoft can make an open world game, like their Far Cry series or Assassin's Creed nowadays, but it doesn't have that same touch that Nintendo does, right?
Sure.
So like I wanted to see what they would do with an open world, and they hit the nail right on the head. They made a perfect open world. And it's so great just running around and having nothing to do in the game. Let's say you didn't fight anything. You didn't do any missions. You didn't go to any goal. You just ran in a single direction. You would find 5 things interesting to do.
Yep.
It's so great. It's just that there is a thing where I'm getting to the point where I don't have enough hearts, but yet I like I'm getting one-shotted by these things, and I don't have the weapons to fight them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So have you been going to a lot of the shrines and like completing those puzzles? Because that's how you build up your heart.
Yeah, but
your stamina.
I am running into the robot ones, the robot shrines.
Okay, so yeah, some of them can be a little challenging. There's some that are easy and some that are a little more challenging, where you got to be, have more health and better weapons and armor and all that stuff.
That's such a great system too, the shrine system.
Yeah,
it's so short and brief, but it's kind of like a Mario villain, where you kind of can understand the sort of the puzzle nature, like you can understand the pattern of what's going on, but it is complicated.
Still challenging to you.
Yeah, like you get it right off the bat. Like, okay, so I have to put the ball in the hole, and then use the time stop thing to stop the conveyor belt so I can run across and, you know, do whatever, right? But and you get that immediately, but putting it into practice is a little more challenging.
Yep.
That's what I like about it. Such a every time I see a shrine, it's like, yeah, I'm going in there.
I know you just can't help, even if you're on your pathway to some shrine, got to stop and do it.
Yeah, it's not one of those things like, oh, I don't want to do it in the shrine. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna forget about that one. I'm just gonna go. But yeah, I ran into this wall where I have 4 hearts, Tim.
Oh man, you gotta get more than that.
And every shrine I go into is fighting those laser robots. And I don't have the weapons to fight them. To do any sort of significant damage.
So yeah, you got to either go to different shrines or look for different ones. Have you done the first main dungeon yet?
I don't think so. Which one is that?
Because the first one I did, where you go to Zora's domain. Have you gone there yet? It's like the water area was like the fish species.
No, not yet.
Okay, because that's the first main dungeon. And we'll probably set you off as far as getting, some better equipment while you're there too. And that's like the first dungeon, the first big boss that you'll fight. So you might want to maybe start doing like at least the first main story mission to maybe build up a little bit, and maybe try doing some of those shrines again.
Yeah, I think I did. In you visit the old lady in that village.
Yeah.
Then she's like, "Oh, I have a message from Princess Zelda." For you that I've been holding on to for like 100 years.
Yeah.
I did do that, so that's where I am in the story. I've just been going
very,
around.
very early.
Yeah, I've just been going around. It's the open world, Tim. It's I just can't stop like looking in like every single little place. It's so weird. Like I have no motivation. I mean, the motivation is there to complete the game, to see the story, but my main motivation is to just explore the world, which is really odd, especially like nowadays where we have all these open world games, but you like Red Dead Redemption, it's like you have this massive open world, but you want to see the story. That's your main thing, right? It seems like with Breath of the Wild, my sort of inclination is to not really pay attention to the story as much. I mean, I want to see the story, but my main motivation is to look at these shrines, look into these shrines. I wonder what's on top of that mountain. I wonder if there's anything beside in this abandoned house.
Yeah, I totally get it. That's what's so great about the game, like you said. But
at
certain points, you're going to have to do the story-based thing so you won't keep dying and progress in those harder areas of the map. I mean, if you wanted to, Dane, you can go straight to the final castle and try to beat the boss if you wanted to.
That's what I figured, because you can see it the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably won't make it through the courtyard, but...
Yeah, that's
it is possible.
Too. Like, I'm going to the mission objective, right? But then on my way, it's like I'm running into enemies that seem to be higher level than me.
Yeah, certain areas are like that. That's happened to me a little bit kind of early on. Where I kind of tried to just avoid them at some point.
Right. Like, I've just been running away. Just run.
Yeah.
I had another point I was going to make, but finally, a cooking system that is rewarding, really rewarding.
Yes. And it's very simple too. Right?
The music when you're cooking,
that's right.
The greatest piece of little tiny snippet of music I've ever heard.
I guess if you that would have made your top 5 video game pieces of music when we did that topic a few episodes ago. That one would have been on there. I take it now.
Yeah, the pans, clanking. And, it's it's like I said, one of the best games I've ever played. One of definitely the best open world I've ever played, open world game I've played, followed by Red Dead Redemption 2. Um, and yeah, that's it.
It just
I'm
makes me so happy that you're loving it as much as you are with both games. How far are you on Mario? Mario. I'm getting my Italian voices coming out. How far are you on Mario Odyssey?
I'm at the city, New Dunk City.
Okay, I love that level.
Yeah.
It's so different from a Mario game, but yet it works so well.
Yeah, right. And here's the thing about Odyssey. It's the same thing over and over again. It's finding the moons, powering up the ship so you can get to the next area. But they make such great worlds, such great levels that you totally forget about that.
Yep.
Such great puzzles too. Like I just finished the one with the millipedes, the extender millipedes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that one took me a while to figure out. But like I said, it's like being a kid again. They've made a great system, and I will tell you this, Tim. In the time that I've gotten the Switch, which is about a month, I'd say, a little less than a month. Well, before I got the Switch, I finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? And there's a bunch of DLC. Red Dead Redemption 2 has the online.
Man, I haven't even touched that yet. Like, kind of scared to jump into that just right now. But I want to, though. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. The Spider-Man DLC.
That was one of the things I did over the break. Finished all the Spider-Man DLC. I actually just finished the last one this past week.
Yeah. Still haven't touched those yet. But my point is that ever since I got the Switch, I have not touched my PS4 or my Xbox One. Yeah.
That's saying something, man.
The Nintendo Switch is... I wouldn't say... It's hard to compare the three, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy.
It really is its own thing.
It's easy to compare the Xbox and the PS4, but it's really hard to compare those two with the Switch. It's a completely different thing. You have these big games, but there are indie titles. That's another thing that surprised me too about the eShop. There's a bunch of indie titles on there besides the Nintendo first party. So like I think there's FIFA on there. But the wealth of indie games and games that I wouldn't necessarily want to play on my PS4. I mean, I wouldn't like want to have to like turn on my PS4 and play that, right? I think that's the Nintendo sort of market right there, the indie games, besides their first party games.
Yeah, which it never has been before.
Yeah, there was a lot of indie games, which really surprised me, but it's its own thing. You know, they're not trying to compete with PS4 and Xbox. That's another thing that really hit me too, is that they're not really trying to compete. They made a handheld. They made that can be projected onto the TV with HD graphics and all the things that you can get on a PS4 or on an Xbox, but it's a totally different thing. They're not competing. They're doing a different thing. And that's where I think Nintendo will succeed. And that's what I think makes the Switch really great, is that they're not competing. They made their own specific thing, just like Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. They made their own specific thing. And I mean, it's in the larger context of video games and open worlds and all this stuff, but they made it their own, and I think that's what makes the Switch really great.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad. I mean, first of all, that you got it and that you're enjoying it as much as I knew you would. And for me, one of the big things I was doing over the break too was playing my Switch. But the game I've been playing is plowing through is Smash Brothers, man. I mean, once that game came out, I finished. I can't say all of Red Dead because there's a lot of stuff. I want to go back and do some more stuff in the campaign, but I finished the main story on Red Dead just in time for Smash Brothers to come out, and a good thing I did because I've just been devoting most of my video game playing time to Smash Brothers, and it's been, man, so much fun. Everything I wanted in this Smash Brothers game, it's living up to its ultimate title. So, I mean, Dane, every time you plop on your Switch, and you always say every time I'm on, that's what you see me doing. Just Smash Brothers, Smash Brothers, Smash Brothers.
So I just Smash Brothers.
I mean, the gameplay is fun. Anyone who's played a Smash Brothers game knows what to expect. But the roster of characters in here, man, it's just so cool to see all these characters that you would never imagine being in the same game fighting with each other. It's so good. But the mode I've been playing the most.
Can I say something really quick? I like how they have that. I don't know what it is because I didn't buy a Wii. That sort of like woman from the Get Fit games, or
the Wii Fit trainer, yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, but technically a Nintendo character, so you got to throw her in Smash Brothers.
So.
But yeah, I've been playing the main single player campaign, the World of Light, and man, that thing or that mode is so long and huge. It's great. It was like almost like a Red Dead length, like maybe just. Like maybe 20 hours shorter than that because Red Dead's average like around 60. I made it to about 40 hours for the Smash Brothers World of Light.
Wow.
And there's not really a story to it, but it's just fun. It's a big world map that you got to go through. It's almost like a little bit like a RPG map or like a board game type thing where you pick what character you want to use and all the different areas on the board. Some of them are its own thing, but a lot of them are specifically based on the video games that the characters in Smash Brothers appear in. Like there's a Street Fighter portion, which is awesome. You board an airplane going through different continents, just like the map on Street Fighter 2, which is really cool. You got a Zelda themed level, Castlevania theme, Donkey Kong Country theme, Mario, like all those classic games are incorporated into this massive overworld on the World of Light map. And you're basically just going there trying to rescue I shouldn't say just Nintendo characters because there's third-party characters there also. But all the characters in the game, you got to work to awaken them to join your roster. That's a way, if you wanted to unlock the characters in Smash Brothers to join the main roster for all the modes. You can do it just by completing World of Light, but there's other quicker ways to unlock them. But that's what you do, and then you collect the spirits, which is the main mode in Smash Brothers. There's a spirit mode, which is pretty much your stat power-ups, and each spirit has different abilities that can improve your fighter, protect them from status effects, boost their attack, boost their defense, their health, all that type of stuff. And all these spirits are based on video game characters. And the story is like you're awakening them from these like light and dark forces that imprison them. And once you fight them, you awaken the spirit and you collect it and you can equip it to your character. So it's just really fun. For me, I found it addicting just trying to collect all these different spirits. There's over like 1,000 of them in the entire game. So that's something you like doing, you'll be there for a while. But I just love how the map and the level design was on World of Light. It really kept me couldn't wait to see, what video game themed area I'm going to go to next. And so it was a lot of fun. There was the one disappointing thing about it was the cutscenes. You just get one in the beginning and the end, and maybe like very short ones close to the end, but they don't feature a lot of those Smash Brothers characters, which is disappointing because you get a really cool opening featuring a lot of the characters in a cool CG cutscene, and that's pretty much it. The ending was kind of disappointing, so I won't say what it is, but there's really not much to spoil anyway. So I would just caution anyone who hasn't finished World of Light yet. It's a fun experience, but don't expect a great payoff with the ending. So it's a lot of fun. Now that I finished that, I'm working on doing classic mode, kind of like their arcade mode with each character and doing some online matches, which I've been okay. Haven't dominated, but haven't been awful either playing online. It's been fun. So, yeah, I've been enjoying the heck out of Smash Brothers. It was everything I wanted it to be. And right now, I mentioned how I just finished the Spider-Man PS4 DLC. That was only after I finished the massive World of Light single-player campaign in Smash Brothers. It's just so much fun, and like I said, it took most of my video game playing time. It was all just Smash Brothers. I just love it so much, and I know you got it, Dane, but it didn't quite have that same click for you like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild has.
Yeah, it didn't really make that much sense, but I'm getting there, Tim, slowly.
Yeah, because
I
I want to
still
play
have
with it, man.
I still have to unlock essentially almost all
Yeah.
75 characters, or however many there are. But I'm getting there, Tim, slowly but surely.
Hey, even if I'm not sure, I think probably might. If we play online, you might unlock certain characters because when you do certain different modes, after you're done, a challenger will appear to unlock the fighter. So you can do almost any mode, and after playing it for a little bit, you'll get a chance to unlock a new character.
Oh, I see. Um, you know what I was wondering though? Like, how does Nintendo pick which Pokemon are in
I know.
Smash Brothers? Because if you think about it, every single Pokemon can be in Smash Brothers,
Yeah,
right?
there's so many.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the Pokemon characters, but to me, it seems like they chose ones that are more fighter based to be in Smash Brothers. The one I guess that are deal in combat in the Pokemon universe. At least that's what it seems like to me. But not even just playable fighters. I mean, when you get those Pokeball items, like, how do they choose which Pokemon to use for those? And they change it up every time there's a new Smash Brothers game. But yeah, that is a good question. I wonder that myself. You would think they would just make a Pokemon fighting game that's like Smash Brothers. They have made Pokemon fighting games, but they're different in gameplay style.
Wow, how does that work?
I know. I haven't
Yeah.
really played them. There's one
Oh,
that came on the 64 Pokemon Stadium. That was the
yeah.
only one I really attempted to play, but I didn't even play it that much.
I remember there was that Pokemon on N64. I think it was the Pokemon photography.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap. That game
Yeah,
was fun,
Pokemon
actually.
Snap, right? Oh, you actually played it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it's just like you're on a roller coaster, right? And then
Yeah, it's just
like
an on
you have
rail.
to like take a picture of him.
Yeah. I think at the time it was just a way for, like, because they were only on handheld before that, and that was just a way to see Pokemon like never before on a video game console with those type of graphics. And I think they just wanted to showcase looking at the Pokemon like never before, not worrying about actual gameplay of it. Just take some good pictures, but yet it was still pretty fun and addicting too.
Kind of want to get a N64 now just to play um, Mario 64.
Yeah. I know they don't have a virtual console on the Switch like they did the Wii and the Wii U, where you can buy the old games from 64, Super Nintendo, and regular Nintendo. So I mean, they have that when you sign up for their online service, or like Nintendo, the NES like streaming type service, almost like their Netflix for old Nintendo games, which works pretty well. So it'd be cool to do that for the Super Nintendo and 64. But if they
Yeah,
did, I imagine the price would go up for their online service because right now it's a really good deal. It's $20 for the whole year.
yeah, and that's the thing too. I tried to play Metroid, and I tried to play the original Mario Brothers on that NES streaming thing,
Mm.
and it works really really well. It works better than the PS4 one, at least.
Yeah, I haven't really tried any of the other like streaming type gameplay stuff, but I imagine it should work really well when the older games that don't take require that much, memory to use to play it, since their graphics are so, old. But it makes for probably a smoother experience. So yeah, I guess our most of our time during our break was dealt playing the Switch, which was awesome. But we still got to play together. That's why I want you to play Smash Brothers. And I know you got Mario Kart. I don't have Mario Kart, but I might have to take it from my brother and play it so we can play it together for a little bit.
That's another thing too. Mario Kart. It's it's such a simple concept. You're just going around a track, but they
Mm,
make it so fun with all of the things you can pick up, and the different customizations you can do to your cart.
yeah,
Um, just makes it really really fun. So
and the level designs on there, look, especially Mario Kart 8. I played a few of them and it looks really good.
yeah,
So yeah, I guess you could say we really endorse the Switch. I've had it for almost 2 years now, but so I'm enjoying it. But Dane, even as a newcomer, I think I can safely say you wholeheartedly endorse it for anyone to pick up now.
oh yeah, totally. Um, the big thing for me was the price point. I couldn't see spending $300 for something that I'm gonna play sparingly but after picking it up, I'm exclusively playing it,
Yeah.
which is really weird. So yeah, I definitely endorse getting a Nintendo Switch. This is Nintendo at its finest. They they're finally back on track. Um, they they're making great games as always, and they finally made a great console. So
Yeah, it's great. So, anything else you've done on the break? Did you go to see any movies?
um, well, I know which one you're talking about.
So I wasn't sure if you saw it or not, so that's why I'm
No, I haven't
curious.
seen it. I
Okay.
haven't seen it yet.
Still no Aquaman for Dave.
But do you want to give people just a quick overview?
Yeah, because I saw it a second time, and because on our last episode we recorded the day I saw the Amazon preview screenings, and I did my non-spoiler thoughts on that one. But for this one, now that it's been out for over a month, I'm gonna just talk a little bit more about some of the stuff I really enjoy that may be as spoilers or whatnot. But yeah, just I saw it again last week, and it just cemented how much I really, really enjoyed the movie. It's just a whole lot of fun. I mean, they just took the Aquaman mythos, his world, and just ran with it. And that's what I love about it. I mean, the Atlantis underwater visuals look great. I mean, you could say it's the story isn't wholeheartedly original and it's simple, and that's fine because that's what Aquaman's story is. I mean, they stuck with the source material pretty well, and they told his story, and it worked for the movie, and that's fine with me. You're not going to get something that's wholeheartedly, like I said already, that's super original thing makes you go, oh man, I've never seen this type of story before, but told in the way that it is in Aquaman with the visual spectacle, that being it's told in a different way that you really haven't seen before with how different Aquaman looks and plays out. But yeah, it's just a whole lot of fun. I love the action sequences. I think are great. And one of the things I mentioned this in my non-spoiler review that I really loved about it was seeing Black Manta on screen, not only how he looked, which I raved about on my non-spoiler review, just seeing these characters I've seen so long only in animation and comics be brought to life on the big screen in such a cool way was awesome. But just how they developed Black Manta's story and him and Aquaman's rivalry, I thought was handled really, really well. And probably my favorite aspect of the movie. And again, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but it begins with, Black Manta and his father and their pirate crew raiding a submarine, and Aquaman goes to stop them and he takes them out. And there's this great moment where the action sequence, that's one of my favorite action sequences, is actually that big opening is the first one where Aquaman takes out that pirate crew and fights Black Manta and his father. I love how James Wan directed his action sequences. I just love how he shot it. It's really cool. There's the choreography and the way the camera is angled. It all looked great. But what I love about it is that sequence is once Aquaman took down Black Manta and his father, he gets his father trapped. He takes him down after he fires like a big rocket launcher into Aquaman, thinking he's got him, but he survived it. He throws, some type of pipe or like debris and just pins Black Manta's father to the wall and has him trapped there. And then as Aquaman's leaving, his father, or Black Manta's father, I should say, shoots another rocket launcher, trying to hit Aquaman and misses, and it hits the sub, and now the whole area is being filled with water and it's leaking. So and he's trapped and he's going to drown. So Black Manta goes to try to help his father, but there's debris stuck on him. He can't get out, and he calls to Aquaman and pleads for him, like help me save my father. You got to help me. You can't just leave him here to die. And Aquaman does something you don't see too many heroes do, but he just goes, "Hey, you killed innocent people. You deserve this fate," like something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing here, but he just said, "You killed innocent people. You kind of, deserve this. I'm not going to help you here." And he just walks away and he leaves him to die. And Black Manta can't help his father, and his father just tells him, "No, you have to go. You have to live to kill him." So reluctantly, Black Manta has to leave, and that's what starts, his hatred for Aquaman. And it gets revealed that Ocean Master hired Black Manta and his father and their pirate crew to steal that sub because he wants to, fake an attack against the humans against Atlantis to make everyone in Atlantis and the different realms there start a war and attack the surface world. So he's in league with Orm, and once there's events that happens where Aquaman and Mera escape Atlantis and Orm's on the hunt for them, he goes back to Black Manta and knowing that he wants to kill Aquaman for what he did to his father, and he provides him with all the tech he needs to create a suit. And man, it just looked so good. And I just love how it built up, like I said, the rivalry and the villain hero relationship that Aquaman and Black Manta are going to have. You could tell it started in this movie. It wasn't fully developed, but they planted the seeds and they laid the foundation to why, Black Manta becomes Aquaman's arch nemesis. I just love the foundation that they laid for that. And it just makes me super excited for the sequel, which we know is going to come because Aquaman is just killing it in the box office, which is awesome to see, not only because I really like the movie, but out of all the DC characters, not Batman, not Superman, not Wonder Woman in this DCEU era, it's Aquaman who has the biggest success, is going to hit $1 billion at the box office. There's just something very ironic but yet awesome about that. So we know a sequel is coming, and I think it should just be, the main villain should just be Black Manta, because they set up so much for where he can carry his own movie as the main villain and what he could do to Arthur and to grow Arthur even more as a character. There's a lot of growth for Arthur in this movie, and it was because of what happened with him and Black Manta, and I just loved all that. And I think we can be in for even more great stuff in the sequel if they go certain routes that I'm hoping for. So yeah, I continue to love Aquaman. I seen it twice. Like I said, just last week is the second time I saw it, and I can't wait to get it on 4K. It's going to look amazing. I imagine it'll look amazing on your new TV, Dane. So even if you rent it like 4K or something, it's going to look incredible on your TV if you're going to wait to get it once it releases digitally. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it again once it releases for home, which I think is going to be in March. It hasn't officially been set yet, but I think there's been some rumblings that the home release is going to be from March, and I can't wait. So yeah, Aquaman was a big success in my book. I still don't know if it's going to be a movie for you, Dane. I will say that. There's this. I know you like really deep, thought-provoking movies, and Aquaman really isn't that. You just got to go into it looking for a fun, good
action
time.
Movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of movies, though, that I did see, and Tim, you're really. It's probably going to be the end of the podcast.
Uh-oh.
But I've seen Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Uh-huh.
I've seen Last Crusade. I've even seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Which I think is not as bad as everyone says it is.
I don't like it, Tim.
There's some ridiculous moments in it, but I still dig the story for it. It's a fun Indiana Jones adventure still, even though there's some ridiculous moments, like the monkey swinging scene.
But I've never seen Raiders.
What?
Yeah, I've never seen
that.
That
is a shocker. Wow.
Yeah. I did finally see it. It's on Netflix. I think Temple of Doom and Last Crusade are also on Netflix.
No, they're all on there, all four of them.
No, well, you don't need to see the fourth one, but
see, I saw tons of tweets say that. I rolled my eyes every time. Oh, you should only say 3, or there's actually, you misspelled the word 3 or something. Like, wow, like, come on.
But I finally saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I don't know what took me so long, because it's just like the other Indiana Jones movies. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. I mean, I'm curious, since it's the last one you saw, did seeing the other ones and kind of knowing what it's all about, did it take a little bit away from, and you thinking of like how high regard most moviegoers view that movie? Did you not kind of view it that way since you already seen the other ones before? No, because I sort of grew up knowing that Temple of Doom and, The Last Crusade were these great movies, and it all came from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and, these... So I figured it must have been good, right? Yeah.
So, I finally saw it. I really like that beginning.
It's classic, man.
where he's going through where he has to get that
the idol
head statue, the idol, and what's his name? Doc Ock.
Oh yeah,
Alfred Molina.
I forget his character's name though. Which that's what I'm trying to think of.
what was his character's name?
Yeah.
I totally forget, but how he sort of betrays Indy, and then he walks into those spike things.
I love the part too. It's just the spiders are all over his back. You don't even know.
Oh man, that was disgusting. Like he's like, "Hey, you have like a couple spiders on your back," and then Indy sort of wipes them off, and then like they show him, and he has like 85 spiders on his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Finally saw it. Got that done.
But my favorite Indiana Jones movie is still The Last Crusade. I love that movie. I love the Holy Grail is the MacGuffin of that movie, and just the dynamic between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery as father and son is classic, man. It's just so good.
That's the one with River Phoenix, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't in the TV show, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I'm not misremembering something.
No.
Like, right. Yeah, because he's in the beginning. That's where they start off the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, glad you've got to see a classic again. I know there's tons of like classic movies I haven't seen that I eventually want to and probably need to see at some point. So
I will say, Temple of Doom has the greatest Indiana Jones opening.
that is a good one, but it's hard to top Raiders.
Yeah, the sort of dance number.
Yeah, the nightclub. That is a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, besides that, nothing really.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing that I did over the break was just more comic reading, of course. Going back to Nintendo, after playing Smash Brothers, one of the things I wanted to do is I had for about a year or two now was some Zelda mangas. I had the Ocarina of Time one, and I thought I got one for A Link to the Past, but it's not really a manga. I mean, it was written by a manga artist and writer, but it was published in the old Nintendo Power magazines when A Link to the Past first came out, so it wasn't your typical manga format. But
Ocarina of Time question.
Yeah.
Does your comic store have a manga there?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Unless if it's a really small portion that I just miss every time I go in there,
Yeah.
But I never really notice any of them.
Yeah, because over here anyway, our comic stores do sell manga.
That's cool.
And you see, because like I'm talking to the wrong person because we both don't read manga.
Not very many.
Not very often, or many of them, right? But do you have the manga that reads like a Japanese book? You know how they read from back to front?
Yeah, that's how the Zelda one was.
Okay, and do you have manga that's in Japanese?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Because I actually want to read the story.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's only in specific import shops. Like we have these Japanese import shops. That's how I first played Lunar.
Okay.
Was the Japanese version.
Oh, wow. How far did you make it on that?
Well, it's really hard because most of that game, I'd say, is text.
Exactly. It's an RPG, man. The basis of enjoyment is, you have understanding the text.
Yeah. And then I remember when I was I was still in school, this kid had Game Boy, the color Game Boy. And then he had one of the Pokemon games, the one where Pikachu follows you around. I'm not sure which color that is or which game that is, but
might be Pokemon Yellow, maybe, because that's one I remember where he was on the cup.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense. But he had it before it came out in America, right? So it was all in Japanese. but I figure like all those Pokemon games are the same game over and over again, so you don't really have to read it. Also, first time I didn't read it, but for first time I sort of saw the Akira novel, graphic novels. Were in Japanese.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
you have more manga experience than I do, pretty much, because I just really got the Star Wars manga adaptations, which are really cool. I love the artwork for those. And just, the Zelda one I got, those are really the only ones I know. And, I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but I never gotten to collect the actual mangas of them. It would be cool one day to have that as a collection, but it's never got into it.
Well,
but
yeah, because I have some Gundam stuff in Japanese, and then I have Akira in Japanese and English. So,
okay. Is it Gundam Wing?
No, it's the older one.
Okay.
What is that called? Gundam.
Well, I know there's a lot of them. The original one is just Mobile Suit Gundam, isn't it? The very first one.
Yeah, the one the one that looks like 70s sci-fi.
Yeah.
Whatever that one is. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
But yeah, just Gundam and Akira. Also, these Japanese import stores, they have like these Japanese Gundam models that are like 8,000 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
they must look cool though.
Yeah, I kid you not, it took me like 5 years when I was a kid to put that together.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll be so happy.
No, because I got rid of it because the instructions are in Japanese. so you're going by look. God. You're going by look of the piece.
Yeah.
And it's 8,000 pieces. So.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
No, but
it was worth it though. It was worth all that money.
At least look at some pictures to see what it could have looked like to put together well.
Oh, another thing I did over our break is every couple of years, and I did text you about this, but you had a really bad day. It seemed like I did listen to Pinkerton again. And what was it only me, Tim, or every time you played Red Dead Redemption 2 and they said, "Oh, the Pinkertons are on us," like you thought of Pinkerton?
Yes, it wasn't just you. Well, that's awesome.
I listened to Pinkerton again. I still don't understand it. I didn't follow up or ask you the question again because I wanted to hear your answer here.
Mm-hmm.
Is the point of the Pinkerton album the fact that they have this more raw sound, and it seems like they don't care? Is that the point of Pinkerton?
See, I never thought of it that way. Maybe to a point where like they don't care what anyone thinks of what the songs sound like or are about. Maybe that way, but heck, if they didn't care, maybe they shouldn't care more often because we all know Pinkerton's one of their best, if not the best.
Yeah.
Of Weezer, but I don't know. I never really took it as far as some where they didn't care.
Oh. I don't know. I still don't get it. Why people think Pinkerton is better than the Blue Album.
I like the more harder sound to it personally,
right?
Than the Blue Album. But this might sound like sacrilegious to hardcore Weezer fans, but the Blue Album is probably my fourth favorite out of their discography.
Yeah, this podcast is.
Did you see that Saturday Night Live skit they had with Matt Damon and one of the cast members arguing like one's an old, she's a hard old school Weezer fan who only likes Blue and Pinkerton, and then Matt Damon playing someone who's like likes is more like me, who enjoys all their stuff but can recognize some of their stuff is not quite as good as those early days. It was just a fun argument, which I'm sure a lot of Weezer fans have. I think it just perfectly captured what their fan base is like. It was funny.
How do you feel about the Green one?
I like it. I thought it was a solid, good comeback album from once they were on hiatus for so long.
It was a really good comeback album. I mean, you had Hash Pipe, and then you had Islands in the Sun.
Yeah, put it back on the map for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great comeback album. Getting to the point where I don't like it because it's every time I turn on the radio, it seems they're playing Islands in the Sun.
Yeah, it is one of those songs that probably got overplayed. Yeah. I will agree with you there. It probably ranks somewhere in the middle as far as my favorite Weezer albums.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. But definitely Blue Album's my number one, followed by Pinkerton, followed by which one did you have me listen to? Was it Everything?
Yeah, everything will be all right in the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Followed by that one, and then Green Album.
Yeah, mine would go Pinkerton. Or see, goes between that whole best versus favorites, because my favorite probably is Maladroit, but Pinkerton is a better album. But I find myself the time Maladroit came out, it was like a really cool time where they were putting out all these demos for it on their official website where you could just download. I got really invested in like those demos and couldn't wait for that album because I was loving them. And then when the album finally came out, it was just really great to hear finished versions of those songs I've heard like a year ago as demos. So I have a really soft spot for Maladroit, but if we're talking about best, I'll go Pinkerton, Maladroit, then Everything Will Be All Right in the End, and then Blue Album as far as top four. If I go to top five, I'd probably put Green Album as number five.
What about Hurley?
Hurley is at the bottom. It's funny. Hurley is probably their weakest album, but it has one of my favorite songs of theirs ever. I think I told you this before, but it's weird how sometimes your least favorite album can have one of your favorite songs by a band on there.
What song is that?
It's called Unspoken.
Unspoken.
It starts off with a real like acoustics, quiet song, but then it gets hard at the end, which I love.
That's another thing too. I listened to the I forget what the special edition is called. Of the Blue Album.
Okay, I think it's Deluxe. I think it's just called like Blue Album Deluxe Edition or something like that.
Oh, okay. They do that a lot. Or a lot of the B-sides on that album were acoustic. They start off as acoustic songs, and then the electric guitars come in.
And Weezer's B-sides and his demo collections are, some of them could be better than like the Hurley album. Like their weaker albums, like their demos and B-sides are just so good. Like those early Maladroit demos, Maladroit could have been like a triple album with some of the songs they had, and they were really good. I just wish someday he would go back and finish them.
Gotta listen to Maladroit.
Yeah, listen to Maladroit. Even try looking up like Maladroit demos, like some of the songs that didn't make it. A lot of them are so good. Songs like "Don't Pick on Me," "Mr. Taxman," "Porcupine." Like, how was another one that I know the sound of it now? I'm blanking on the name, but "Listen Up." That's what "Listen Up's another really good one. Just a lot of good songs that never saw the light of day, unfortunately.
How's that new album coming along?
I'm like excited, but for it because it's another color album, the Black Album that's been talked about for a while. But I will say the first two singles released haven't impressed me too much, especially the first one. That's a song I do not like.
Is that
the second one?
Hasta Luego.
Yeah, Don't Knock the Hustle is what it's called. Yeah. So, but I will say their singles for like the White Album, which I think is really really good too. And like when I first heard, like I think it was "Thank God for Girls," and that one didn't really, get me excited for it, but I ended up loving that album. So hopefully it's the same where the singles aren't doing much, but once I hear the whole album, it'll be something good.
They should go back and make another Pinkerton.
Believe me, everyone wants them to. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you got Pinkerton, no need to do it twice. I mean, that's why I felt like Everything All Right Will Be in the End and the White Album were, they're not Pinkerton, but they were in a way like the next step of where I'd like to see Weezer at that point, being like 15 years removed from it. Those albums I thought were great follow-ups. Yeah.
Pinkerton does have my favorite Weezer song.
Which one's that?
El Scorcho.
Ah, it's a classic.
Yeah.
We covered that song a lot when we played in the band.
Well, it seems like it's a really easy
It is.
Song
it's so easy, but yet so fun to play when you get to that chorus.
It has my favorite lyric ever, which is, "'Cause I can't even look in your eyes without shaking, and I ain't faking. I'll bring home the turkey if you bring home the bacon."
Also, like, one of my favorite lines is, "I asked you to go to the Green Day concert, but you said you'd never heard of them. How cool is that?"
or even like for like the longest time, I never knew what he was saying. I just didn't understand it, and I guess I didn't really bother to look it up. which is the watching Grudge leg drop New Jack through a press table.
Yeah.
or listening to what's the name? Listening to Cho San or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what that is.
Falling in love all over again.
Yeah, falling in love all over again.
So good.
Yeah. Also, Weezer has one of my favorite music videos, which is the Undone music video. The one take.
Yeah, that is a good one. I mean, Buddy Holly's a classic. It's the Happy Day. I also like the Say It Ain't So video. Just simple. It reminded me of when we used to play like at the home in a corner of a spot. Oh, we got someone coming in doing like laundry and stuff. It just, you can relate to like the all bands who started out playing at home like that. So I like the Say It Ain't So video too.
Also,
and then keep fishing with the Muppets. I mean, that's a good one too.
The El Scorcho one is pretty good. It's a simple. They look like they're just in a empty dance hall.
Yeah. Then you got the lights flashing and the strobe lights going on.
Yeah, and what's great about those early Weezer videos is that you can clearly tell they don't want to be making a music video.
Yeah.
Because they're not syncing up with what the song is doing.
Yeah, especially in Undone and El Scorcho.
I think Matt Sharp at one point is sitting on the ground in Undone.
Think of the Say It Ain't So video. You see Weezer, he's singing, or Rivers, he's singing. Then all of a sudden, you don't see him singing anymore in the mic, but the vocals are still going on the track.
Or
picks it up.
He's not singing with passion. He's just mouthing the words.
Yeah. Plus, Brian Bell has a Stormtrooper shirt in the Say It Ain't So video, so gotta give it a point.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. At the point where they're like out in the yard playing with his ball. He's wearing a Stormtrooper shirt.
But yeah, listen to Pinkerton again. Don't really understand it. I do understand people really love it. But I'm going to stick with the Blue Album.
Still can't go wrong there. So I guess the only other thing I did over the break, actually I'm cheating a little bit. I read this like at the beginning of December, but I haven't really talked about it. And I finished it like not too long after in December, but I finally read Batman White Knight by Sean Murphy. I waited for it to be collected as a trade, and it was on sale. DC's having their holiday sale, so I got it there. And man, it was really good, Dane. I highly recommend it. It was just when you think you can't do any more unique Batman stories after him being around for 80 years, there's a story like this with White Knight. It was just really, really cool, and just going in directions you never seen before, paying homage to the classic Batman stories. I mean, there's a lot of Batman the Animated Series Easter eggs and references there that I just ate up. But it's really, really cool. I highly recommend it. So glad I read it, and now I'm looking forward to a sequel because there's some plot points that they left open that could be cool to explore in the sequel, which I hope they do. But man, it was just a really cool take. Scene. Because the premise of it, Joker gets reformed. He's the hero, and he kind of goes after Batman and is being looked at as the villain. And the reasons why Batman kind of acts the way he does is so understandable by what he goes through and what happens to him in the book. So I just dug it all the way around. So yeah, Batman White Knight was something I heard great things about, but at the same time, just wanted to wait till they got collected in a trade. And boy, I'm glad I read it when I did, because I loved it a lot. Looking forward to hopefully more in this Elseworlds universe that Sean Murphy's created for Batman. There's this really cool stuff going on in there.
Who wrote that? Sean Murphy?
Yeah. The artwork was really great in it too. Just all around, just so good. It's like It's been a while since I read a different, Elseworlds Batman story like this that really stuck with me and just, got me excited for hopefully more of it. So yeah, I was late to it, but definitely pick up White Knight if you haven't read it like I did. So yeah, that's what we played, what we watched, what we listened to, and what we read over the course of our break in December and the last bit of 2018. But now we're ready to move on into 2019 for hopefully some cool stuff going on, and not only just Batman and DC stuff, but just in the geek world in general. We'll probably talk about it more on our next episode, because our next one we want to do our look back or our best of and favorites of 2018, and I'm kind of want to do something a little different with it. We're not just, because before we just mainly do our favorite comics, like writers, artists, and all that stuff, and our least favorite. We'll kind of do that for still with favorites, but I kind of want to get away from the dislikes and negatives type stuff. Try to keep it more positive.
Can I say one more thing about the Switch? Surprises me that they have Doom and the new Wolfenstein games on the eShop.
They definitely have more mature rated games on there.
Yeah, that was a trip.
Yeah, well, it's good, covering more bases on the video game landscape for gamers to pick up a Switch. So
right.
I think it's working too. So yeah, look out for our favorites of 2018 in our next episode. But as I was going to mention, I want to have them be more broad, like do favorite movies, favorite comic series, favorite video games, and all that stuff. Be more broad than just like favorite comic stuff, which we've done before. So look forward to that in our next episode. But with that, we can go into a few news stories that we got to. It's been kind of quiet on the DC Batman front since our last episode, but some stuff has come out. And the first one being that CW has officially ordered the pilot for Batwoman, which this kind of took me by surprise because I thought it was already ordered and ready to go and announced, but I guess that wasn't the case. But it's officially a go now, so we'll be getting a pilot, I believe, in the fall this year. And what's cool about it is going to be directed by David Nutter, who's done a lot of pilots directed. I think he did the pilot for Arrow too, if I'm not mistaken, but he's done some of the CW shows, but he's also directed some Game of Thrones episodes as well. So he knows his way around making some good TV. So excited about that. Just kind of surprised that, it wasn't officially a go yet until this was announced on the January 3rd. So we'll look forward to seeing the Batman or Batwoman pilot later this year.
Yeah.
Which
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, which, as you know from our last episode, we seem to be one of the few who enjoyed Batwoman's portrayal in the CW Elseworlds crossover last year. So I think we'll both be checking it out.
It still baffles me. I don't understand why people don't like it, but yeah, I'm on board for it. Just as long as they stay away from the villain of the week or a bad relationship drama.
We know it's going to have some type of relationship drama. It's a CW show, so the question is bad.
No Felicity or Oliver sort of thing.
Yes. And the other bit of news that I wanted to talk about was we got our first look and first details on one of the animated movies coming out this year, Justice League versus the Fatal Five. This should be the one coming after Reign of the Superman, which is out later this month. But this one, I just got a lot more excited for it because, first off, we're getting some familiar voice casts back. It's pretty much going to be a Justice League animated series reunion, at least for some of the characters, because Kevin Conroy's back as Batman, Susan Eisenberg's back as Wonder Woman, and I almost said Tim Daly, but George Newbern, who voices Superman in Justice League, not Tim Daly. It will be voicing Superman in this Justice League movie as well. And a bit of the story synopsis got revealed too, which I wasn't expecting, but got me more excited about it because one of the newer Green Lanterns, Jessica Cruz, is going to be one of the main new characters to be featured in the movie. And reading it, I got to say, I wasn't a big fan of the Green Lanterns comic when Rebirth first started, but I did like some of the aspects of her character. And I hope they deal with this aspect in the movie where she gets the ring. When she gets it, she has trouble making constructs. Like she just has trouble bringing her will out and making a construct. And I have a feeling that could be something that might be a theme in this movie if this is a story where she first gets the ring and doesn't know how to properly use it. But by the time, of course, we get to the end of the episode, maybe she figures out how to control her will and make a construct. I think it could be pretty cool to see in a movie. But the official synopsis is that the Justice League faces a powerful new threat, the Fatal Five. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman seek answers as the time-traveling trio of Mano, Persuader, and Thorok terrorize Metropolis in search of budding Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz. With her unwilling help, they aim to free remaining Fatal Five members, Emerald Empress and Validus, to carry out their sinister plan. But the Justice League has also discovered an ally from another time in the peculiar Starboy, brimming with volatile power, could be the key to thwarting the Fatal Five. An epic battle against ultimate evil awaits. So not only are you getting the Jessica Cruz Green Lantern, but also Starboy, who, I'm familiar with the look he has as one of the Starmans. There's a tons of Starmans in DC, but the art style looks good. Kind of has that Justice League feel to it. You get the Justice League Unlimited voice cast, and we get one of the newer Green Lanterns in here who looks to be a focal point of the story. So I'm excited for it. I don't think they have a release date for it just yet. It just said it's expected in the spring. So after Reign of the Superman, we'll probably hear more about it and hopefully get a trailer and the first look that usually comes when the Blu-ray hits. So yeah, another movie to be excited about in the DC animated line. But this also got me thinking, these haven't been officially announced, but some rumors have been rumbling lately about what's coming in the future. And one of those being The Long Halloween. And I don't think it's going to be this year because they've already announced this late for this year's lineup. But if we get the announcement of The Long Halloween for 2020, that can be pretty awesome. So here's hoping that pans out. And also another rumor that is for Batman Hush, which is coming out later this year. And what was said about Hush is that it looks like it's going to take a page from the Death of Superman and Reign of Superman movies, where it's going to be set in that continuity. I'm just telling the Hush story because the rumor is that Jason O'Mara will be back as Batman, which makes me believe it's going to be set in that continuity. So I was hesitant about that at first, kind of like Death of Superman once that got revealed. But at the same time, they did such a great job with Death of Superman that I think doing an adaptation of Hush set in that universe would work just fine too. So we'll see if those rumors pan out, but stuff to be excited for, especially The Long Halloween. Doing an adaptation of that, especially, and the rumor about that is that would be more of a comic book adaptation, not set in the DC movie universe continuity, which I think for The Long Halloween is some more so probably than Hush. I would want to see more faithfully adapted and have that art and visual style. See, I'm getting names mixed up. Tim Sale, I almost said Tim Daly again. I was just talking about it for Superman, but Tim Sale's art style, if they could capture that for an animated movie, I think it'd be really great. So yeah, we'll see if those get announced. We probably won't get an official announcement for The Long Halloween if it's true until Comic-Con like they always do, but here's hoping that is the case. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I just had a little comment for you. What if they said, yeah, we're going to do Long Halloween, we're going to do all these classic Batman stories, but it's going to come out in 2027? like, would you be happy with that, or would you rather them just, like there's not going to be any animated movies until 2027, but they're going to do Long Halloween, they're going to do all these great Batman stories, right? Batman Hush, would you be okay with that?
You know what? I'll be okay if it was Nightfall, because that's the one I've been waiting for. I've said that time and time again on this podcast. I'm waiting for some type of animated adaptation of Nightfall, and if that was the case, I'd be okay. But wow. I guess even for these, I gotta have the attitude that it'll be worth the wait. It'll be disappointing and a long wait, but in the end, hopefully, it'll be worth it. But yeah, the fan in me is going like, no, especially when one of them is already announced. It's like, can't have it pushed back now. But if they were to say at Comic-Con coming in 2027, Batman Nightfall, I would be okay with that. I would plenty of time, for them to do what they want, get it right. But I'm sure there'll be some stuff in between to be excited for as well. And I've waited this long for a Nightfall movie adaptation, so I might as well wait 8 more years.
Oh, wow, Tim. You would wait 8 years with no more Batman animated DC show movies just so you could see Nightfall.
Yeah, we've gotten over 20 of them now, so I could rewatch them all over again. That'll keep me busy.
Oh, and Warner Brothers actually talked with Disney/Lucasfilm, and there's also not going to be any Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Even Episode 9 until...
Okay. Well, I got to draw the line there. One thing I'll mention too, I forgot. It's actually a cool feature. One of the new things they announced for the DC Universe app is that I believe I don't know if it's going to start with Reign of the Superman, but definitely moving forward this year with new animated movies is that once they come out digitally, they'll be available to stream on the DC Universe app the day it comes out, which I think is awesome and a really cool feature for the app to have. So yeah, just another reason why I can't wait to get it once it does come on consoles. But I thought that was something worth mentioning, which is a really cool thing. If you're not able to buy the movie right away, it'll be on the app for you to stream, which is awesome.
Just get it already, Tim. It doesn't matter.
Yes,
it
does.
doesn't matter.
For me, it does.
So like if they said like you had to turn in all your Batman the Animated Series DVDs / Blu-ray / digital downloads, and you could only get it through the DC app, you still wouldn't get it?
Not if I have to give those up. Yeah, see, you always put the scenarios, the hard scenarios that makes me rethink when I go, okay, you win. I will say this though, for the once the Disney Plus app comes out, if that's not going to be on consoles, I'm going to have to get a Roku or something or whatever is available for it right away, because there's no way I'm going to wait to see the Mandalorian and the new Clone Wars episodes. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Oh no, they're only going to release the release the Disney app on iPhones. So like you can only watch it on an iPhone. You can't watch it on an iPad or on your computer.
And not just TV. Any iPhone. It's only limited to the iPhone 5. You have to have an old iPhone 5.
No, like you can't download it off the store. You can only get it if you get a brand new iPhone, whatever iPhone is coming out this year or next year, or whenever that the Disney app is coming out, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can only get it if you go into the store and buy a new iPhone.
Well, I know when I'm getting a new phone. If that's the case, whatever it takes.
Or Disney somehow does a deal with Samsung, and you can only get it on a 80-inch TV. You would have to buy a brand new TV to get it.
Well, Star Wars usually dictates when I get a new big screen TV, so maybe that'll be it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for our bits of news we wanted to talk about for this episode. And as always, we can move into our conversation with Alex / listener feedback. And Jordan has sent in an email. I was going to say first email of 2019, but technically it's not, because he sent this email not too long after our last episode came out, which was on December 24th is when he sent this email. So we'll wait for our next one to have Jordan's first email of 2019. But for this one, he goes, "Hey, my Bat Brothers, I love Elseworlds so much. It is my favorite of the Arrowverse crossovers to date, and that's really saying something given that I have loved them all. What really cements Elseworlds as my number one, though, is going to Gotham City and meeting Batwoman. Ruby Rose kills it in her debut as the character." Well, now there's three of us, Dane, who liked her portrayal. We got Jordan on the side. "I especially love her interactions with Supergirl. I've always loved the friendship that Batgirl and Supergirl have, going all the way back to when I saw the new Batman Adventures episode, Girls Night Out, for the first time as a kid. And I'd love for them to develop a similar dynamic between Batwoman and Supergirl in the Arrowverse, which it looks like they're going to do, given the world's finest tease we got. I was expecting Batwoman to be on Earth 38, making crossovers between her and Supergirl just a bit easier, so I was surprised in Elseworlds when we find out she's actually on Earth 1. I think there's a good chance those two Earths finally get merged into one next year, though, so it likely won't matter soon. I love seeing Psycho Pirate and Nora Freeze, too. Psycho Pirate is a villain I've really fallen in love with thanks to what Tom King has done with him in his Batman run, and it's so bat-tastic seeing him make his live-action debut. I love seeing all the Easter eggs for other Batman villains too, my favorite being the Dark Knight Rises Bane mask. In general, I love how much this crossover pays homage to the Gotham City scenes being shot in Chicago like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were. I also got such a kick out of the way Scarecrow's fear toxin is utilized. It reminds me of Injustice, where Superman is tricked into fighting Lois thinking she's Doomsday due to Scarecrow's fear toxin. Supergirl already did a bat-tastic homage to the back at the end of the season 2 when Superman was tricked into fighting Supergirl thinking she was Zod, but this felt like an even more nod to that horrifying moment from Injustice. The Ollie Barry swap makes for some truly fun, truly hilarious moments to like Barry, or let me start that again. The Ollie and Barry swap makes for some truly hilarious moments too, like Barry getting revenge on Ollie for shooting him in the back. I also love getting to see Amazo, as I've been waiting for that ever since season 2 of Arrow when we saw Ivo on a ship called the Amazo. It was super satisfying finally seeing that android Amazo. What a bat-tastic crossover. I'm super excited about the casting of Chris Messina as Victor Zsasz. I'm familiar with Messina from 2 Ben Affleck films, Argo and Live by Night, both of which I love. I can't wait to see what he brings to one of Batman's creepiest villains. Because of his past experience with Affleck, perhaps that will help make the on-screen dynamic between Batman and Zsasz really strong if we ever see a meeting between the two of them down the line in the DCEU. I'm super pumped to see how Zsasz plays into the Birds of Prey and the fabulous emancipation of Harley Quinn. And speaking of Chris Messina playing Victor Zsasz, remember what I said in our last episode when we were talking about the casting, how I was hoping we get no longer the bald Victor Zsasz, but the full blonde-haired one I know from Nightfall?
Yeah.
Well, at the Golden Globes last week, he was there sporting some blonde hair, just like Zsasz did in those early comics. So looks like that's going to be the case, which I'm glad for. But Jordan continues saying, I'm super excited about the Plastic Man movie too. I could see it being somewhat similar in tone to Shazam and building on the hopeful success of that film. The Batman is no longer on Netflix, and it's not on the DC Universe digital service either, which is odd, because I thought the reason it got pulled from Netflix a while back was for the DC Universe digital service. What are now on Netflix, however, are all 3 Batman Unlimited movies, which feature Alistair Duncan reprising his role as Alfred from the Batman. So now is a fantastic opportunity for you to catch up on those. Yeah, I'm surprised with that, because I thought it was already on the DC Universe app when it launched. And like you said, Jordan, why it's not on Netflix anymore. But I imagine it would be on there eventually. And hopefully by the time I sign up, it'll be on there so I could check out that Black Mass episode. Speaking of Alfred, I realized I neglected to include Alfred in my ranking of favorite Bat family members on my last email. I just had costume crime fighters in mind, but you are absolutely right that Alfred is 100% a member of the Bat family. And if we're including him, which in retrospect we should, and I apologize to Alfred for not doing so the first time around, he would rank 5th on my list as well, just edging out Tim Drake. I absolutely love Batman number 60. Spoilers, Batman seems to be on the verge of finally discovering Bane's conspiracy against him, which means we're one step closer to Batman and Catwoman being able to get back together. I love the homage to The Dark Knight with Gordon taking out the bat signal. That's such a powerful moment. Seeing the Penguin and Alfred interact is bat-tastic and reminds me a lot of the Batman, where they have a super interesting and hilarious dynamic. The final tease in Batman 60 is super intriguing. I am excited to find out what's going on with Thomas Wayne's Batman following up on that cliffhanger from the end of Batman 50. Issue 61 is absolutely bat-tastic as well. It keeps us hanging on the Thomas issue, but it instead follows up on the horrifying story from Batman number 38 involving Matthew. After just 2 issues, I'm ready to say that Tom has created a Batman villain who ranks up there with the Joker, Scarecrow, and Professor Pig as one of the most terrifying. Throughout most of Batman 61, the issue had me scrambling to figure out what was going on, but towards the end, when I realized I was super blown away. Yeah, Batman 61 read a while ago. I was a little disappointed it didn't follow up on the Thomas Wayne cliffhanger, so I could understand maybe what Tom King's doing, maybe want to build the tension there. But I agree with Jordan where it's kind of weird how it was playing out and what was going on. And I forgot about that villain Matthew, who was back in issue 38, according to Jordan. I know it was early on, but I didn't remember exactly which issue number it was. But he was a different type of villain, being the crazy young kid. I wouldn't put him up there with the Joker, Scarecrow just yet. Maybe Professor Pig. And I know Professor Pig plays an issue in issue 62, which I haven't gotten yet. But we'll see how this story arc goes, but I'm just anxious to get back to that Thomas Wayne reveal. But Jordan continues saying, I love Aquaman 2, Tim. Spoilers, it's truly one of the most visually awe-inspiring films I have ever seen, which continues a trend for the DCEU. It just oozes with Jason Momoa's Aquaman's wildly entertaining personality from start to finish. My favorite part of the movie is the Sicily sequence. Mine too, Jordan. That whole sequence with Black Mass chasing them. Oh, so good. To me, it feels like an inverse of the No Man's Land scene in Wonder Woman. In Wonder Woman, we get a fantastic action scene and then the quieter scene in Veld where Diana and Steve really connect and Diana sees the beauty of the world away from the mascara. In Aquaman, we first get Arthur and Mera in Sicily where they really start to connect and Mera sees the beauty of the surface world. And then we get the bat-tastic action scene where Black Manta shows up and chases him. Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought of it that way, but that is a cool way to look at it. Just kind of both movies doing similar things, just in opposite directions, but they both work really, really well. So good call on that one, Jordan. He also says, I love Arthur and Mara's banter throughout the movie, and I love that we get a callback at the beginning to Aquaman helping stop Steppenwolf in Justice League. Speaking of Black Manta, I love Night Owl / the President as Ocean Master, but for me, Black Manta is the villain who truly steals the show. Aquaman reminds me of Green Lantern in that way. As much as I love Hector Hammond and Parallax in that film, I always loved Sinestro even more, and because of that, I think a sequel would have been even more batastic. I feel the same way about Aquaman, except in this case, I think a sequel is fortunately super likely. It's not just that Black Manta's action scene that's batastic, though. It's all the action right from the first one, early on in the film with Chase Meridian, who was in a relationship with. I'm getting confused with his characters here. He mentions Chase Meridian being Nicole Kidman in a relationship with Abin Sur, Samuel Morrison, who obviously both played Aquaman's parents in this film. So now I get what you're trying to say, Jordan. But as always, he has a couple of questions to wrap up his email. His first one is, with Norris Freeze having just appeared in Elseworlds, Young Justice is about to finally return, which all started in the pilot with a simultaneous attack by 4 ice-themed villains, and winter officially upon us. I thought it would be a fantastic time to ask how you'd rank your top 5 favorite ice-themed villains in the DC universe. Mine are number 5, Louise Lincoln. She was the first version of Killer Frost I was introduced to thanks to the DCAU. Number 4, Caitlin Snow. I love the struggle with the duality that the character undergoes on The Flash and how she ultimately is redeemed as an anti-hero. Number 3, Leonard Snart. I love how he's a villain with a code of honor and is dynamic with the Flash. Number 2, Dr. Blizzard. Legends is one of my favorite Justice League episodes. And number 1, Victor Freeze. I've always adored the tragic aspects of his character. So yeah, for me, I will go number 5. I'm going to pick the villain Icicle. He was in the Smallville episode that dealt with the Justice Society. Then he was also in Young Justice as well, but had to pick, try to get some different ice villains on there. So even though I'm not too familiar with him, I have seen him in a few stuff. So he's number 5. The number 4, I'll go with Killer Frost from the DCAU. She was the first one I was exposed to as well. And she was just ruthless, just killing for the heck of it. That episode where she kills Morgan Edge after rescuing Clayface. So she was the most ruthless Killer Frost I've seen. Then number 3, I'll go with Killer Frost from The Flash, the Caitlin Snow version. And number 2, I'll go with Captain Cold. And number 1, of course, how can it not be Mr. Freeze? So those are my top 5. So, Dane, I assume Mr. Freeze is your number 1, but any other
of course
ice cold villains who rank up there?
Particularly the Arnold Schwarzenegger version.
Oh, I knew it. I knew that was going to be
Batman and Robin. Ice villains. No, not really.
Yeah. If you're not really familiar with The Flash, like with Captain Cold and Killer Frost being involved, sometimes with an icicle, you're not really too many other ice villains. So
right.
As long as you got Mr. Freeze on there, you're good. But his second question is, who are your top 5 favorite Dick Grayson voice actors? Mine are number 5, Lauren Lester. Number 4, Sean Mayer. Number 3, Jesse McCartney. Number 2, Jerry O'Connell. Number 1, Evan Sabara. For me, I would go number 5, Neil Patrick Harris from Under the Red Hood. I loved his Nightwing portrayal there. And number 4, I'm going to go with Jesse McCartney from Young Justice. When I first heard, I had a hard time picturing Jesse McCartney being good for Dick Grayson because I'm so used to his voice as a character in Kingdom Hearts, and I never thought of Dick Grayson when I heard his voice as that character. And it's pretty much the same as it is in Young Justice, but it ended up working really well, and it came to a point where it didn't bother me that his voice was sounding like too much like that Kingdom Hearts character. He got into he came into his Dick Grayson role rather well as Young Justice went on. And again, just anxious to see it continue in Young Justice and Outsiders once I get that app. At number 3, I'm going to go with Sean Mayer, who does Dick Grayson, the DC animated movies, like from Son of Batman and that whole continuity. I believe that was his first one once they did Son of Batman. And number 2, I'm going to go with Scott Menville from Teen Titans. And then number 1 is got to be Lauren Lester. I've said time and time again how he's my definitive Dick Grayson, and that's never going to change.
Oh, sorry about that. I
You have your mic
actually,
on mute.
no, I accidentally hit my my mic out of the thing. So that's 154.
Might as well get to 5.
Yeah. Um, I'm not that familiar with Dick Grayson actors besides Lauren Lester. So
Mm.
what I'm gonna say is Jesse McCartney's music career.
I will say I'm glad I could recognize Jesse McCartney as a voice actor, not his music career, which is horrible early pop music.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he got away from that and got a good career voicing some iconic characters like Dick Grayson. All right, so that's it for Jordan's email. As always, he ends it Batcat forever from the first kiss to the last. Your Bat brother, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. And as I said earlier, look forward to your first and many more emails in 2019. And with that can take us into our comment review section. And this one's actually kind of more of a recap of 2 issues. But as always, got us about the spoiler warning there, as I'm going to be going into some specific story aspects of the issue that we're going to be talking about. And our rating scale for this episode, what should it be, Dane? We got a lot to choose from what we talked about in this episode.
Well, I'm not sure if we've done this before, but how about questions that Dane asked Tim about the Switch before he got the Switch?
There we go.
Yeah.
Questions that Dane asked him about the Switch before he got the Switch.
Yeah.
And then got a Switch because of the answer.
Yeah,
We'll make it that long and complicated. No, but for this episode, it's mainly going to be a recap of Detective Comics issues 994 and 995. And it's been a while since I reviewed Detective Comics, so I'm glad to be back on board reading Detective again, because it's been a while since I got it once James Tinian's run ended. And it's kind of been lackluster, I got to say. I haven't read them, but I've read some reviews, and kind of people were waiting for a new creative team to come on board. And thankfully, that is Peter Tomasi, who I'm a big fan of, especially with his work with Batman. So I was excited when he was announced he'd be coming on to start with issue 994 and going all the way up to the milestone issue of Detective Comics 1000. And boy, he's getting his run off with a bang, because I loved these first 2 issues. He's creating this mystery story here that is very intriguing. It starts off with Bruce and Gordon, or Batman and Gordon, I should say, investigating a murder of a couple who have been made to look exactly like Thomas and Martha Wayne. They had surgery done to make them look like Bruce's parents. The way their bodies are positioned to how they died are exactly like it. So someone knows Batman's history, and they're creating this mystery as far as recreating his parents' death. And then that continues on in both issues as things happen to Batman that show someone knows who he is and doing all they can to really break him. And so in that first issue, 994, after they're investigating those murders, Leslie Tompkins gets attacked by this strange monster who's like this big red creature, and she's on the run from him trying to escape, and Batman's trying to get to her in time. And he's a little too late. As she jumps off the building, Batman catches her, but she's been infected by the monster. When that issue ends with the Joker smiling and being infected with Joker toxin, you just see her face be all white like the Joker and have that big smile on her face. And the issue after that, 995, is probably even better than 994, where Bruce takes Leslie to Batcave to try to get her better. He has his antitoxins for Joker's gas, but once he gets there, the gases aren't working. Alfred prepares them, but they're just having no effect, and they just don't know what's going on. And we did get these great moments of Bruce reflecting on his relationship with Leslie, and while I think that is one of the more underrated, most important relationships that Batman has, that mother figure he had as a kid when his parents died, her and Alfred was the first ones there to comfort him. And a big thing happened, because unless something happens at the end of the story, something changes. But Leslie Tompkins dies in this issue, and it was a pretty powerful moment. Batman not accepting it, trying to bring her back, giving her CPR, even though she was too far gone, and then just asking Alfred, I just want to be alone. And that's where we get some of those flashback moments of how much Leslie meant to him and his life. And even Alfred too, there was a great moment where Alfred walks out of the Batcave and goes into the kitchen, and he's reflecting on Leslie as well, and just sheds a tear. And as things can't get any worse for Bruce, there's a knock on the door. The doorbell rings. I forget which exactly, but Alfred answers it, and we just see him get stabbed by a sword, and it ends up being someone dressed up as Zorro, thus kind of harkening back to the night his parents died. Bruce saw a Zorro movie, so it ends with Bruce. We know doesn't appear Alfred's going to die, but just this whole aspect of figuring out who's behind all this. It's just such a great mystery, and I just love how Peter Tomasi is setting it up as someone who knows Bruce's history, the most important night of his life, and the most important people. He's trying to, recreate the worst night of his life and take away the best, comforts he got during that time. Like the only comforts he got were from Alfred and Leslie, and someone's trying to take that away from him. So I just love that being the crux of, what's behind this mystery and who could this possibly be. So I'm just fascinated, intrigued to find out how it's gonna, what's who's behind it, how Bruce is gonna deal with this, because losing Leslie is going to be a big thing. Like I said, we'll see if comics, anything can happen in bringing someone back. But if this sticks, it's going to be interesting to see how Bruce deals with this, especially in what's going on in the events of Batman. I know they're both not really taking place, coherently right now at the same time, but Bruce has been through so much with this past year. And if this stuff sticks with Leslie and someone trying to recreate the worst night of his life, it's going to do a number on him mentally. So just some great stuff. Peter Tomasi's really creating a great mystery here and delving deep into, the Batman mythos and what created Batman. So yeah, I'm loving it, and this makes me more excited to what he's going to do in Batman 1000. So far, these first two issues, I'm going to give it 4.5 questions that Dane asked him about the Switch before he got the Switch, but then eventually got the Switch. So yeah, these issues are great. I'm looking forward to finally be back reading Detective Comics again, because it didn't feel right being so close to 1,000, not getting them because they just haven't been great, and I can't afford to be getting comics that aren't great. So glad that Detective Comics is up there with Batman as far as getting 2 great Batman comics out now. So yeah, really, really excited about what's to come on Detective Comics. So yeah, that's going to do it for our first episode of 2019. So thanks to everybody for sticking with us. As our new title suggests, yes, we're still here, and we're going to be here for the foreseeable future as long as we're able to. So with that, I'll throw it to Dane to the outro as always.
All right, just go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles at BatmanUniverse, show's Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Podcast, Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311. I'll say it at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year.
All right, I got that to look forward to.
And my Twitter handle is at DaneSaysBanana. You can rate and review us on iTunes, and you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode, Tim,
we love each and every one of you with all of our bat and Switch hearts.
Switch hearts. We'll see you guys next time.
See you later, everybody.
Scarecrows frightened of a clown that's laughing.